Hello, this is Action Wire Recaps. Before we begin, a warning for the spoilers. Do you people think that aliens exist and that they'll conquer Earth one day? An extraterrestrial signal from an object near the moon is recognized by a government facility in New Mexico. The Secretary of Defense is called by Space Command in the Pentagon on this occurrence. The object is around the size of a quarter of the moon on Earth. The president, who had just woken up close to her daughter, is then contacted. David, a brilliant employee of a cable television firm, is chess playing with his father. Despite being divorced for years, he continues to wear his wedding ring. When he returns to the workplace, he discovers that the signals for all news stations have mysteriously been jumbled. With his understanding, David determines that the signal scrambling is not his fault and devises a solution. Meanwhile, a drunken pilot named Russ waters the incorrect field in Imperial Valley, California. His children, Miguel, Lisa, and Troy are being confronted by furious landowners despite the fact that they hate their own father. Connie, the director of communications at the White House, is occupied monitoring the media. The president and other influential people are debating their position. The object has recently been orbiting the Earth and releasing about 30 smaller satellites. The fact that it being the weekend and nearing the 4th of July, many military officers are on vacation, makes the situation worse because counterattacks are not yet prepared. There have been reports of alien attacks in California, the Persian Gulf, and Iraq. The deaths of numerous citizens and military personnel are caused by inexplicable events. The president starts the emergency procedures but will not leave himself. Connie is instructed by him to produce an emergency broadcast that urges people not to panic. As they mock him for his otherworldly encounter, folks arrive at the neighborhood tavern where Russ is drinking. He claims to have been kidnapped by aliens in the past, and the subsequent trauma has made him a drunk and strange guy. Earthquakes are being caused by extraterrestrial spaceships that are stationed above California, Washington, D.C., and New York. When the earthquake occurs, Captain Hiller, a U.S. Marine pilot, is sleeping with his girlfriend Jasmine but doesn't think anything of it. David is unaware of the threat that is present because he is too preoccupied in programming the signal. His entire office is moved to a former bomb shelter. Hiller eventually understands the danger when he awakens to the sight of his neighbors hastily preparing to leave the city. David notices the spacecraft and the news and concludes that the signal is a coordinated countdown for the aliens to prepare themselves before attacking Earth at the same time. He makes touch with Connie, his ex-wife, who is going to the White House with the president to give a speech. She hangs up after he commands her to go. Hiller's leave is cancelled when he receives a call to report to the El Toro base, disappointing Jasmine. In a phone chat to his wife, the president expresses his dislike for her traveling to any of the big cities. David asks his father to drive him to Washington after they meet. He intends to assist Connie and the government in fending off the invaders. His father deters him by saying that the government is aware of what they are doing. The children of Russ desire to leave the city without him. Hiller returns to El Toro, where Jimmy, his wingman, finds his anticipated wedding band. Jasmine continues to perform as a stripper in the meantime, but she decides to leave the area because of the deteriorating news scenario. At the White House, David is accompanied by his father, Julius. He triangulates Connie's precise location using the phone signal. Despite their earlier disagreement, Connie takes the president to meet David. David informs him that the aliens are constructing a countdown utilizing the satellite systems of Earth. The Pentagon sends out a vintage chopper equipped with a visual communications gadget as they are having a conversation with the aliens. The nationwide evacuation is started by the president when he witnesses the chopper being shot down and hears from David about the countdown. While a few strange people beg to be abducted by these aliens from rooftops, the First Lady is in Los Angeles. While David and the president are on Air Force One, the extraterrestrial countdown comes to an end. Washington, New York, and Los Angeles are all attacked at the same time. Jasmine stays alive by taking refuge at a tunnel inspection alcove with Dylan and their dog Boomer. Sadly, the First Lady's chopper never arrives at the meeting place. Particularly because his wife, vice president, and chiefs perished, the president laments the deaths of his people. Captain Hiller and his team get ready to launch a defense. They learn that the alien spacecraft and its fighters are shielded from the military's missiles by a force field. Jimmy and other members of the military suffer severe losses, but Hiller escapes the attack and kills an extraterrestrial after forcing it to maneuver and crash into a gorge. Jasmine finds a truck in the wreckage of the city in the meantime. The president refuses to order a nuclear assault because he believes it will only result in more needless deaths, despite the defense secretary's request. The perspectives on how to handle the problem then differ among passengers on Air Force One. Julius vents his hatred on the government, accusing them of being to blame for the Area 51 disaster in the 1950s. The president attempts to reassure him by claiming that Area 51 is not home to an alien conspiracy, but the defense secretary disregards this and sends the jet there nevertheless. Jasmine assists wounded survivors in traveling to El Toro outside of the city. Hiller runs upon caravans of residents fleeing as he drags the alien's body over the desert. He orders them to be brought to Area 51, a neighboring airbase that is not shown on the map and where the president's team is also going. They learn about a catastrophe in the 1950s that left 3 dead aliens and a recovered spaceship from Dr. Oken, the director of the research facility. Although they have learned a lot about the species, they have not been able to understand its sophisticated technologies. David assists them in determining the aliens' communication signal as they unexpectedly learn that Hiller has taken a wounded species to the facility. Hiller shows there as well, bringing groups of survivors. When he finds out El Toro has been demolished, he assumes Jasmine perished. Jasmine arrives at El Toro's remains as well and believes he perished. She establishes camp for the night with the survivors, one of whom turns out to be the First Lady. As Dr. Oken dissects the wounded alien, it reawakens and launches an assault on him and his colleagues. The extraterrestrial makes a telepathic link with the president while the president watches via a glass, just before the Secret Service kills it. The president approves nuclear attacks after learning that it plans to wipe out all life on Earth. Houston, Texas, is the initial target. Hiller, meanwhile, borrows a chopper to locate Jasmine in El Toro. Jasmine and the other survivors are transported to Area 51 after being evacuated by him. The alien ship is still protected by a force field, therefore the nuclear strike is unsuccessful. All nuclear attacks are aborted by the president, which his defense secretary finds unacceptable. But he is instantly let go. At Area 51, the president and his seriously hurt wife reassemble. He is made even more depressed when the doctor informs him that she has a slim chance of surviving. Meanwhile, a drunken and irate David causes damage at the lab. He receives a visit from Julius, who advises him to take care of his health to avoid contracting a virus. David is moved by the words and finds himself unexpectedly ready to give a demonstration. He demonstrates how he can transmit a computer virus through the aliens' communication signal, wiping out their force fields and opening the door for a significant response. He must achieve it by connecting to the mothership's communication network in order to spread the infection to the lesser spacecraft. Hiller offers to be the pilot of the 1950s extraterrestrial ship that would take him and David to the mothership despite people's reservations about the scheme. Connie and Jasmine are both concerned about the choice. Prior to leaving for the mission, Hiller marries Jasmine, with David and Connie serving as witnesses. Connie makes peace with David after seeing he never removes his wedding band. General Gray of the U.S. Army organizes a global counterattack attempt in the meanwhile. The Army uses Morse code to communicate the news, and surviving militaries from around the world are eager to join. Since there aren't many pilots available, the president, a former Air Force pilot, offers to lead a team. Russ and everyone else who can fly an airplane is being escorted to Area 51. He is happy to serve his country and exact revenge on the aliens who wronged him in the past. After adjusting to life on the alien spaceship, Hiller and David depart the base. They reach the mothership quickly. Then it takes control of their ship, allowing them to automatically pass through the mothership. Before the ship actually docks, they see many aliens getting ready for an invasion. The virus is successfully uploaded by David. General Gray then instructs the president to begin a strike. The team gains confidence to launch additional attacks and repel the alien fighters after the first missile misses its target but the second one hits its target directly. They are ready to have their target's primary weapon fired, but they are running out on missiles. The president and his staff immediately pave a path for Russ to reach the primary weapon after he abruptly declares that he still has one missile left. However, Russ' missile became caught, and out of concern for his kids, he makes the ultimate sacrifice by crashing his jet into the weapon just as it was set to fire. The spacecraft has been totally obliterated. Fortunately for the president, he can leave without incident. Hiller and David should launch a nuclear missile and exit the alien mothership after uploading the virus, but they are stranded at the parking dock. The aliens encircle the ship after growing suspicious of it. They lighted their victory cigars while turning on the nuclear weapon, believing they had lost. Their ship's dock suddenly comes undone as it is ejected.